The Premier League weekend complete, and yet again goals in every single game. Stories wherever you look. Those wins for Chelsea and Brighton and Sunderland, and hugely for Nottingham Forest, Palace and Newcastle on Saturday. Then for Villa and Arsenal in that thumping fashion in the North London derby on Sunday. And Everton have done it. 2 in 33 Premier League visits to Old Trafford. They've won by a goal to nil with 10 men for almost 80 minutes. And Manchester United's 5-game unbeaten run is over. So, of course, Arsenal have that healthy 6-point lead at the top over Chelsea. 7 clear of Manchester City. It is Villa then in the 4th Champions League spot at the end of the weekend. Manchester United missed the opportunity to go level on points with them this evening. And as Wayne rightly says, Everton go above Liverpool on goal difference in the table. They knock the reigning champions down to 12th position. At the bottom, of course, Wolves still without a win and are 9 points from second. And that is the goal that won it for 10-man Everton. Just a second win in 33 Premier League visits to Old Trafford. And let's remind you why they were down to 10 men. Extraordinary, unusual circumstances with this incident between Michael Keane and Idrissa Gana Gueye. The correct decision in the end, but as I say, you don't see this very often on a Premier League football pitch.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's stupid, and 9 times out of 10 that costs Everton tonight. So yeah, I'm sure David Moyes will take the right action required for it. But listen, sometimes it happens, and that's the emotion to the game, and you don't like to see it boil over that far, but sometimes that can happen, and Everton have got away with one, and I'm sure Gana Gueye will be, really relieved that they've won the game.
Yeah, he'll be the most relieved man inside Old Trafford tonight. He's banned for 3 games as well now.
Yeah, it's plenty of punishment, isn't it? And you can understand. Well, you can't understand why. You can see why. I mean, he's tried to play the ball inside to Michael Keane. He's not really read it. And he's come over in quite an aggressive manner, waving his arms and thrashing his arms. And of course, Michael's then confronted him, given him a little shove and another shove. So he's not to blame in any of this. However, you cannot condone, raising the arm, slapping in the face. The rules suggest it's a red card. The referee's got no option.
And at that point, that was after 13 minutes away at Old Trafford, who they've just won the last 4 there. Who would have predicted a 1-0 Everton win?
If not many people, if I'm being honest, but I think the way Everton conducted themselves and the game management of the game was very good. I thought first half especially, Barry, Grealish and Ndiaye were excellent in keeping hold of the ball for them. Dewsbury Hall as well, and second half the work rate of the whole team. The United were pushing them back and probably forcing it a bit too much, and Michael Keane and Tarkowski were having everything out, and O'Brien as well. So I think it played into Everton's hands a little bit, but the work rate and the effort they put in to make sure they got the win was excellent.
Do you know what I've often thought as well? When teams go down to 10 men, a lot of managers go and take off their maverick player, their sort of skillful player that might be able to do something. I think in this situation, a lot of situations, they're actually the best players to keep on. Someone like Jack Grealish, give him the ball. He never loses the ball. He wins free kicks. He gains ground. He takes the sting out of the game. And Ndiaye the same. And I just think that David Moyes needs a good deal of credit there, because, as I say, lots of people, right, 10 men, let's take off the striker, let's take off the wide man, let's put another midfielder in or another defender in. But no, he kept some of the players that, because you cannot, I know they've defended for a lot of the game there, but you cannot just sit on the edge of the box. You've got to have some form of threat, and leaving players like Dewsbury Hall on and some of those creative players actually worked in their favour, because they're the ones that give you a bit of a breather. So I thought David Moyes deserved a lot of credit there. And of course he brings 1 or 2 players off at the end, bit of fresh legs, I get that. But I thought he did really well to keep the influential ball carriers on the pitch.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think when you're seeing them going down with knocks and cramping, and shows how much work they put in. But if you're just sat on the edge of your box, 9 times out of 10 you can see the goal. But the amount of free kicks Grealish won and Ndiaye keeping hold of the ball, I think Moyes, maybe a few years ago, will have taken someone off, but he's just used all his experience there, I thought, tonight.
OK, let's go live to Old Trafford. Let's talk to James Tarkowski He's got a big smile on his face, understandably so. Good to see you, James. I mean, what an effort. What a result that is.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. It made it a bit difficult for ourselves, but some performance, showed bravery, determination, fighting spirit, and yeah, massive result that.
You did make it difficult for yourselves. What was your reading of the situation of the red card?
I didn't see it, I was walking away, to be honest, but then listening to Garner's just spoke after the game and apologised, and Garner's a very experienced player and very competitive and played at top level, and he's accepted that he's made mistakes, and he's made a mistake tonight, and Keno's accepted the apology, but we moved on from it quickly and played unbelievable, and so did Keno, to be fair, to deal with that and then crack on.
Yeah, absolutely, because a lot of other teams would have let that affect them, but almost galvanised you tonight.
Yeah, he did a little bit, yeah, he did. Obviously the game plan changed a little bit. We didn't want to dominate the ball a bit more than that, but defended unbelievably. Jordan made 2 or 3 massive saves, but then still had a bit of time on the ball. The goal was a good bit of play, and then a great finish from Kiernan. And we had to try and get just a bit of time on the ball and a few spells just to kill the game a little bit, because otherwise we would have defended for the rest of the game.
James, it's Michael Owen. Well played tonight. I'm just wondering, when you go down to 10 men like that, and as a defender, does that actually almost focus your mind even more? Because you can't go out and play like you would have with 11 men, but you've almost focused your mind and then used your creative players sparingly. I thought it was a tactical, masterclass really from you guys.
Yeah, it probably makes the game plan simpler, really. We know we're going to have to defend and stay narrow, make the ball go wide, and I think me and Keno love defending our box, and we sort of thrive on that, so made our job a bit easier. And then we knew we had to give the ball to our creative players still. Find the midfield 4. Hope that Barry or Beto held the ball up when it went into them, and I thought that everyone did a job tonight. And our creative players, when we needed them, created that chance to get the goal.
Hi James, Owen and Rooney. I just want to, on your creative players, on your Grealish, on your Njai, and Barry, who has had a lot of stick this season, I thought his hold-up play was excellent, and they were really important both when he got the ball, winning free kicks, but also the work rate he put in, getting back defensively, obviously to help you guys out.
Yeah, we needed them at both ends of the pitch. Some massive moments at the back post from Jack, and Illy was working the ball, and like he does, wriggles away from danger, winning fouls. And I thought Barry was excellent. The amount of headers he won, the amount of flick-ons he won, worked ever so hard and gave us a real outlet. And we needed every play. Even I thought even when the subs came on, to be fair, late on we're counter-attacking, getting the ball high up the pitch, and it just gives us that little bit of breather, so we weren't defending our box for the whole game.
And just finally, I mean, you've got back-to-back wins, back-to-back clean sheets, and you've obviously defied history. You knew the club's record at Old Trafford. You've put that to bed now to move on and get a bit of consistency, momentum. What does it do for that?
Yeah, definitely. I think you see the league table, it's ever so tight up there, and we've just got to keep in contact with them and keep picking up points. We've got a real big run of games now, and then we can look forward to the weekend and hopefully keep picking up wins and stay right up near the top of the table.
Good to see you. Well done tonight. Thanks for speaking to us.
Cheers, fellas. Thank you.
That is James Tarkowski live from Old Trafford, who's talking about that goal from Keane in Dewsbury Hall. Let's have a look at it from an Everton point of view first, because you're not happy with United's defending. But lovely strike. He's got this in him, hasn't he? His second Premier League goal for Everton.
Yeah, he has. I think he's been excellent for Everton this season. His energy, his creativity as well. And then a good pass from James Garner, but then just that willingness to drive at defenders and make them make a decision. He gets a little bit of luck with the deflection, but then he gets a shot off, and it's a really good finish. Keeper should do a bit better, I think, but just that little pocket there, James Garner coming off the play, Grealish holding the ball up for him, and a lovely pass through the lines, getting turned, a little bit of luck, and then it's a good finish, and he deserves it because I think his overall game was excellent.
From a United point of view?
Well, I mean, he picked up the most perfect position because he stood basically between a box of 4 players. If he goes close to one of them, then all of a sudden that player thinks, right, I'm the one to pick him up. Because he was equal distance away from everybody, very difficult, I suppose, for Manchester United players to think, right, who's going to go? I think Lenny Yoro should have pushed in. I mean, Manchester United have got extra players at the back. That's the whole point of having so many players at the back, that they can go and be aggressive. No point having spare men all the time at the back. And so I thought Manchester United, I think they'll be really disappointed with that. As I say, Yoro's got to then push in. There could have been a tackle. Yoro again got a little bit on it, but not quite enough. I mean, fantastic goal from Everton's point of view. They really worked it well, but I think Manchester United outnumbering Everton like they did. It's all right having numbers, but unless you're going to press the ball, unless you're going to make a challenge, unless you're going to get it tight, It doesn't matter if you've got extra numbers. And Manchester United are always safe. They've always got extra players. They play that back three, and half the time they're only marking one man. You know, I often think, you know, it's the easiest job in the world for a defender. You know, you have one man, you've got to mark, you know, with three players, you've got to mark them. And as soon as anyone comes near you, you still don't go even, you know, and close them down. I'd be furious if I was a Manchester United manager.
Okay, well, let's get a Manchester United reaction. One of those defenders, here he is, Matthijs de Ligt.
Matthijs, what's your reaction to that? I imagine a lot of frustration.
Yeah, of course. I think the game says enough. Against 10 men for 70 minutes, conceding a goal, not creating that many chances. Yeah, today was not a good night for us.
Why do you think you weren't able to take advantage of having the game against 10 men for such a long time in that match?
Yeah, it's always difficult. Obviously, against 10 men, they drop a little bit more. They have 4 guys of 2 meters in the back, so crosses is going to be difficult. I think we lacked the patience to play between the lines, to play on the floor. Instead, I think we crossed a lot of balls, but obviously they're really strong in that aspect. So, but still, then we have to do much more than this.
There's been a lot good about Manchester United in recent weeks. It's felt like you've been making real progress. Did tonight feel like a step back from that?
I think in all aspects today felt like a step back. Not only the result, the intensity, the focus, the way, I don't know, the way we were fighting for each other, suffering for each other. Today felt definitely like a step back compared to the last weeks.
A step back, and probably a step back most didn't against 10 men at home.
No, there's been good vibes at Manchester United over the last, few weeks, and all the messages coming out today is everyone's happy and with the performances, with the results, and they were certainly favourites to win the game tonight, and then obviously Everton going to 10 men, you think they're just going to kick on and win the game comfortably, but I think as the Ligt just said there, they forced too many balls. They were crossing the ball at times when they didn't need to cross it. They stayed a bit more patient and pull Everton out of position. That was a big problem for them tonight, and I would like to see them change the system. I know Luke Shaw and Lenny Yoro were stepping in and trying to add an extra player in midfield, but when you're playing against and you've got one extra player, I think having a more creative player in a natural position, naturally in there, would have made the difference. So yeah, I think Ruben Amorim and the Manchester United players will be very disappointed with tonight's performance.
Before the game, in the absence of Šeško and then Cunha, we had a deep discussion about Joshua Zirkzee. Ironically, a couple of headers, in fact, the 3 clear-cut chances in the second half all fell to him.
They did, and he could have scored, but I can't watch him and get excited, I must admit. I mean, Cunha missing today is a big blow. He was the closest to scoring for Manchester United.
That's a hell of a save, isn't it?
It's a fantastic save, but they're almost resorting to playing like this, Manchester United, just hopeful crosses because he's in there. I mean, if you've got Cunha playing, if you've got Fernandes playing a little bit higher, if you've got a different profile of player up there, you probably don't go, and just knock crosses in all game. And of course, 1 or 2 of them landed on the button, and they could have scored. Of course, they could have. But it's not really how Manchester United want to play. And I always think when you start just lumping the balls in, it almost becomes desperation. And as I say, there are a couple of headers there that went close. But I ask you this: if you were Everton, if you were David Moyes, what are the best aspects of your team? In terms of defensively, especially, I would be rubbing my hands together if someone says, right, they're going to knock the ball in when I've got Tarkowski, I've got Michael Keane,
and O'Brien.
They've got 3 of the biggest, best headers of the ball in any defence in the Premier League, and you've got Manchester United crossing the ball in every 2 minutes. As I say, 1 or 2 of them landed on Xerxes' head, but I just feel that the way Manchester United are playing at the moment, prior to tonight, it's not the right profile of player. He doesn't excite me at all, does Xerxes?
OK, we'll pick that up again in a moment after we've heard from the United manager. Here he is, Ruben Amorim.
Ruben, what are your thoughts after that game?
I think they were the better team with 11 players or 10, and I felt since the first minute that we were not there with the same intensity. So they deserve the win.
What was missing from your team this evening, do you feel?
The way to face the game, to understand that the other team help us with the sent-off. What we need to do in every single moment of the game. If they have 10, let's push the opponent to the final third, to be near any transition, to be focused, really to be focused in the game.
In the second half, you had plenty of the ball, you had plenty of chances, but couldn't put them away. Did you feel as though you just needed something to drop in the back of the net? But when you did have a good effort, Pickford was in fine form, wasn't he?
Yeah, that can happen. But I think they look for the luck, and they deserve it. We need to do more.
You've been in good nick up until tonight, 5 games unbeaten. So does this feel like it's a big step backwards?
Yes, especially in the way we play the game. Forget about the results. The results is also really bad, but I'm more concerned with the feeling that I had during the game.
What's the situation with Cunha? What was the injury? What's the problem with him?
Let's recover Cunha and then we'll see if he'll be ready for the next game.
How pleased were you with the way that Josh Tarkowski led the line this evening?
He did all right, but I think everyone should play better tonight.
Obviously, your frustration is clear to see. What kind of things have you said to your players at the end of the game now?
Nothing. We have training tomorrow. I will deal with that tomorrow.
Thanks for your time, Ruben. Thank you.